Hey everyone, welcome back to Jesse's Shed. I've got a new toy over here that I've been told I'm not allowed to play with until I service my wife's car. So this is an oil change, filter change and service light reset on a 2015 Volvo XC60. It's a D4, 4-cylinder, 2-litre, front-wheel drive, very basic, really quick. You can get this done, get it out of here so I can get something else into this shed. This is a really easy service. The D4 model 2-litre that mine has, it's a front wheel drive. It needs 5.6 litres of oil. I always do an engine flush before I drain the oil, and you need yourself an oil filter. I always go Ryco, it's a trusted good brand. Measuring cup and a funnel to put it back in. These run a 0W20 oil, which in my opinion is way too light, but they have a DPF system in the car, and if you put a thicker oil in that, it can sludge up, it can block that DPF system, and that's going to be a whole world of hurt. Volvo have been making these DPF systems for a long time now, and they're not having the problems that Toyota do, because that's a fairly new system for Toyota versus something that Volvo have been doing in trucks and other commercial vehicles for a long time, and they've been in these cars for quite a number of years as well. So as long as you use the right oil and you change that oil regularly, it says 15,000 Ks in the book, I do mine every 5. So the first thing you want to do is get that cover off your engine, piece of foam deadener. There's just 4 Torx bolts. You need a T40 Torx bit that fits in there like that. You just spin them around and they clip out. And exposes your engine. That gives you better access to your filler cap, which is over here. We're going to take that off and we're going to pour in the engine flush. So this is the flush that I use. It says it needs 50 mils per litre. This is 5.6 litres of oil. Put the cap back on and then run the car for 10 minutes and let it get warm. Don't take it out somewhere, just let it idle and warm up, because you haven't got proper lubrication anymore with this in your car and you don't want to be stressing any components. Now you just need a T30 Torx bit to take off the protective pan under here. Hopefully I can find the T30 that I dropped down there earlier. For anyone that's not seen under these, there's not a lot to see. There's protective covers over everything. You've got your exhaust, that's about it. Now that the cover's off, you can see you've got your oil filter here, and then we've got our sump bolt just here. We're going to take out the sump bolt, drain the oil, and then take out this center bolt that allows the oil to drain out of this housing, and then we can take the actual housing off itself and replace the filter that's in there. Easy peasy. So for this stage you need a 17mm spanner. Make sure you've got a good sized drain bucket. Remember you've got 5.6 litres to come out, or not quite that much. quick enough, you won't get any oil on you. Just watch out while you're doing this. This oil comes out like water. It's thin to start with, and then that flush makes it even thinner. So keep a couple of rags around if you're worried about getting oil anywhere. Now that your oil's slowed down, we'll take out the screw out of the bottom of the oil filter housing. Just make sure to move your pan over, because when this comes out, it'll end up everywhere. There's a rubber O-ring around that, so make sure to check it before you put it back in. Now everyone's got their own tool for this. You can use straps and ratchets and all sorts of things. I use a set of pliers. They're made specifically for oil filter housings. You don't put much pressure on it, you shouldn't have to. And it should come straight off. As you can see, my way sort of chews it up a little bit, so if you're worried about it, just get the right size fitting. It's just a cup that goes over it, and it's got those cutouts. I don't think it's worth the money personally. And that is our filter. There's a rubber O-ring on that as well that's got to come off, and as you can see, there's one on the top of the filter. So while our oil's draining, we're going to get our oil filter housing set back up. As you can see, there's a few O-rings here. We've got one that went in where the drain plug was. You've then got a seating one around here, and then there's one that goes around the top of the filter. The filter comes with that attached, and then the kit actually comes with a replacement O-ring for that plug, and then one that seats around the housing. My kit was the 2815P. I'm not sure if you've got exactly the same motor as me, so make sure you check your book and your specs. So we remove the old oil filter, it just pops out, it's disgusting. Then the O-ring I'm talking about for this is around here. If you're having trouble getting it off, get yourself a pick like this. It just goes straight under, flicks it off. That part's easy. Same thing for getting this off. If you're struggling to, just get a pick and flick it underneath there. This O-ring's actually stuffed. It's really stretched. Actually, if you look at it, like my old O-ring, my new O-ring fits inside my old one. It's that stretched. So this car was serviced by a mechanic last time. I normally do it on my own, but I didn't have time. It shows you he has not replaced that O-ring, because it would not be that destroyed after 5,000 Ks. That's really bad. So once you've got all your O-rings off, just give the housing a good clean up with a nice clean rag. Check inside that you haven't got any nasty material that's been left over, indicating a problem with your engine. Mine's nice and clean, just oily. Then we put that new, and yeah, see, I'm struggling to even get that O-ring over the edge. The other one just flipped off with barely even touching it. So check your O-rings. And that should be there. So once you've got that seated correctly, fucking cockies. Anyone that's ever wondering why I've always got cockatoo sounds, I'd shoot the things if I could. I know Australia's supposed to be about cockatoos and all those beautiful animals, but they are one that I would shoot in a heartbeat. So we just pop the new filter in, make sure he seats nicely. You then put that plug with the new O-ring back in the bottom. You don't need to do this up crazy tight. You're going into a plastic fitting, so just make it snug. The O-ring's doing all of the work in keeping the oil in there. So 1, 2, 3 O-rings all on. Filter's back in. That's ready to go back into the car. So to put it back in, it's just the reverse. We make sure on this seal that you put a good coating of oil, the new engine oil on it as well, so that it seats well. Put him in, start doing him up. Now this is the other tool that I was saying you can use if you don't want to damage it. You can see it's got the same little pattern on it as here. Unfortunately, this is for a different car. It doesn't fit. But that's a better way to do it if you want to actually torque it down. So I'm probably about 20 minutes in. You can still see a good flow of oil coming out. So I'm going to leave that until it completely stops dripping. Once it's done up, we want to get our bolts. Going to put the cover back on the bottom there. Make sure that you've put your sump bolt in and you have torqued that up nice and well, and also check that the washer is good. If not, make sure you replace that. Alright, now we're chucking in 5.6 litres of the 0W20. Use a funnel and just go slow. This is 6 litres worth, so I know I've only got to have 600 ml left in the container at the end. It's pretty easy to eyeball it and just use the dipstick as the measure. I tend to put in a little bit less, about 5.5 litres, and then I'll measure it once I've had a run and then add some more. If you look at this, it's just like water. It's not like your typical 10W40 or something like that. Okay, so now that we've put the oil into the engine, we want to check that we're actually at the right level. These have an electronic dipstick. They don't have a physical one under the bonnet. So to check the dipstick, you want to put your key in, push your start stop to where you hear the accessories come on. You then hold that start stop down. Don't put your foot on the brake pedal though. And it naturally won't do it for me. Try it once more. You hold it down to where you get the accessories to come on. You gotta have the car off. If you do this with it running, it'll be grayed out and it won't work. Once you've got this screen come up, go across, push the OK button. That'll bring up the menu. And then if you scroll through the menu, there's this oil level check. And right here, that's our oil. Min up to max. I keep it out of the red for mine because it seems to have an issue. When we bought the car, it kept telling us that there was an issue with the oil level sensor. We spoke to the mechanic at Volvo and he told me to drop out about 200 ml of oil. I did that, error went away, never came back. So I just keep it like that now and it works for me. Alright, so it's time to now do the oil reset so that it's not telling me I need maintenance anymore. Jump in the car, put the key in. Don't touch anything. Don't touch the buttons or the pedals or anything at this stage. You want to make sure that you're on T2. If it's not saying T2, it's not going to work. To check that, you can just push the OK button here and that'll bring that up. Once you know that you're on T2, you want to push your start stop and just till you hear the click of the ignition come on. There, just that. Don't push it until the lights come on at this stage. What we're going to do now is push the OK button and the start stop button at the same time. Once you've pushed the start stop button and you'll see the dash lights come on, a few orange lights, release the start stop button but keep your finger on the OK button. Now this is going to be difficult while filming, but I should be able to do this. So we push down the OK button, then we push and hold the start stop. See, the lights came on and I'm still holding that OK button. We should have an info button start flashing. 1, 2, 3, release it, hear the noise, and that'll be our maintenance reset done. Let's turn it off, take the key out. If you open your door, it'll turn the car off. And now when I start it, all of that should be gone. That's it, no more service warning. So that's it, that's all there is to servicing the 2015 XC60 2 litre. Super easy job. As you can see from my oil filter that I had, give it to a mechanic and you're not guaranteed to get the whole thing done. So I really recommend, if you feel capable, get in there, do it yourself. It's cheaper, it's easy, and you get to see what's done with the car, and it's a bit of fun. Now that it's finished, I can get into something that I actually want to look at. So we'll get this thing out, I'm going to pull it in, and so if you want to see more of that car, make sure that you give me a like, hit subscribe, give me a comment if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you.